Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go Quick Look product review. This is Steve Gamache, and we're checking out a sharpening stone this time. This is the Naniwa Professional, or what's known, it used to be known as Chosera stone, 400 grit. And they revised this line a little recently, and they supposedly tightened up the variance on the particles, so they're a little more uniform. And it's not quite as thick as the older one, but the size of this stone is 210 millimeter by 70 millimeter by 20 millimeter thick. And this is a 400 grit stone, so it's kind of in that coarse, medium kind of range. It's not super coarse like a 220 or 150 or something like that, but it'll get a fair amount of work done. It cuts pretty quick, and it's got a reasonable feel to it. Sometimes when you get to the really coarse stones, so they're not too much fun to use because of the very abrasive, gritty feeling to them, but this has a reasonable feel. It's got good feedback, and it's kind of a semi-splash and go. You're not supposed to soak this long term, and it's not a soaker because of the composition, but it saturates pretty quickly. It doesn't take much of a soak, and once you get it saturated, it doesn't take much water, a little bit here or there as you work on knives to keep it saturated. And my favorite feature about this thing does not want to load up at all. That was the most impressive thing about it. It's the only stone I've ever had that just does not want to load up. Zero. I sharpened all kinds of steels on this, probably 7 different kinds of steels, including R2 and various carbon steels. And like I said, it did not load it up at all. You could rinse it off, just get right back to almost what this looks like right here, and it was great. It does not dish quickly, and it cuts pretty fast, reasonable feedback. It's just a nice stone. So I'm very impressed with this. I've got some other 320 stones. I've got a Serax, Sudahiro Serax 320, and I've got a Shapton Glass 500, and I've also got a Shapton Pro 320. And I'd say this polish is a little more close to the 500, but cuts like the 320s that I've got. So great stone. This would either be a good base as a coarse stone if you don't need a huge amount of work done, or you could easily follow something like an Atoma 400 plate, or you could follow, let's say, a Nubatana 150 from this, or if you don't have a lot of stuff to do, just start on this and then go from there. I used it in conjunction, probably a bigger gap than I should have put in, but I sharpened a bunch of the knives I got in and cut some new edge bevels with it, and went from this to a Sudahiro Rika 3K, and the 3K cuts so fast that I just went right from this to that, and it worked really well. Not the perfect progression, but for what I was playing with, 2-stone combo worked really nice. So anyway, cannot say enough good things about this stone. So as I just said, a lot of great characteristics to this stone. So they're not super inexpensive, but they are really nicely made, and they have great characteristics. So there you have an impressive stone, the Naniwa Professional stone, aka the old Chosera 400 grit.